Hi, welcome to the Dillon Council Update. I am Kerstin Anderson, the Director of Marketing and Communications. I'm here with Mayor Kevin Burns, and we are coming to you from Auth Chiropractic and Massage right here in the heart of Dillon, Colorado.
It's my first time here. It's awesome. I'm glad they're. Thanks so much to these guys for hosting us.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, we are here with the January and February update. We really haven't had a council update in a while, but that's not to say that we haven't been super busy.
Yep. I've actually been so busy we haven't been able to have an update lately. So I think first for everyone, just want to let everyone know that our sales tax continues to follow the trend of great increases sort of month over month and through the end of the year. Our December sales tax was up $98,855, or 16.13%, which I think is a record, right?
Yes, it is a record.
So that's been incredibly exciting. I think anybody who's been in town saw how constantly busy it was during that month, and there was a payoff for that. So anyone who had trouble finding parking as they were trying to go get groceries or something, there's some benefit at the end of the day. So,
pick your days at the grocery store, right?
Exactly. So for the entire year, our 2015 sales tax was up 12.94%, with total collections for the year of $6,072,191. So just a great year overall. I think at least almost every single month was up substantially over the one before, and it's I think we're all optimistic that's a trend that's actually going to continue for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, absolutely. Really interesting was lodging tax being up and that extending into midweek. So a lot of us have noticed that Fridays are super busy up here. They're like the new Sunday.
Cool. Exactly. So that wasn't that's sort of the overall health of town, but we have been doing a lot specifically in the last month or two. Something folks might have read about in the paper or talked to their neighbors about. We did approve a PUD, plan unit development, on what's called the Gateway project. This would be phase one of the overall Gateway, which is on Lake Dillon Drive, sort of the entrance to town where the gas station is, where the gas station and restaurant are currently. One of the things I'm particularly proud about, it is a mixed-use development. There's going to be residential involved, with hopefully a restaurant and retail on the first floor. But on the residential component, there's 65 units overall, but 17 of those are going to be dedicated to long-term rentals. There's going to be restrictions on those. You're going to have to be employed in the county, so there'll be actual true locals, families that we're bringing in, hopefully. And of those 17, 3 of them will be tied to AMI restrictions. So.
And AMI again, average medium income.
Yep. And that's sort of the mechanism by which, when people talk about affordable housing, that you do various percentages of that, and that's what essentially makes housing affordable.
And they'll be working with the Housing Authority to implement and track those.
Yeah. Anyone who follows this knows that we have there's a countywide housing authority that essentially manages and regulates the affordable component of those kinds of projects. So we've, one of the things we've been working on, and certainly worked on in the last work session, and the last several work sessions actually, has been the revitalization of downtown Dillon. This PUD that we approved is sort of a part of that, but there's a much broader component to that. You've actually been leading a lot of those discussions.
It's been a lot of fun, So there's a couple of different components to that. So the first being sort of density, and we really dug into the guiding documents, right, that Dillon has, and said, all right, here are the numbers that have been out here about how much housing Dillon can support, and we really narrowed that down to, okay, looking at the core area, how much can we support, right? Dan, Elena Scott on our economic development committee walked us through an exercise where we looked at available town plots and said, okay, how much residential could this support? How much retail or office space could we get to? And I think that was really a beneficial exercise, right?
It's been useful. We have, I think like I am regularly reminded of by citizens, we have had many years of studies and documents that that do help sort of guide where the town should be going in terms of redevelopment. But I think this is certainly the most concerted effort that I've been a part of, where we're really talking about trying to kind of package that all together, trim everything down, and really come up with a single with sort of a single list of things that when we start talking to developers, that here's the density we're going to be looking for. Here's the mix of retail that we're going to be looking for. That's really that we're going to need in order to be successful in the downtown area.
Right.
It's not just a matter of putting up buildings and hoping that a restaurant's going to show up, but we actually need to have people in town regularly, not just in the, as you say, on those new Sundays, but kind of year round and throughout the week in order to be able to sustain the kind of retail environment that we want.
Yeah, and I really like it's taking all of that input from the community, from our committees in the past, and communicating that thoughtful vision that we want to see to be successful. So all of this work that we've done, we're going to take and put that in collateral. We'll do developer outreach in the spring and into the summer with that, and really it's exciting to see things like the Gateway project moving.
And I think one of the things that's interesting for folks is that when we're talking about what do we want to see downtown, it's not just when you think of retail, it's not necessarily just the it's not necessarily just clothing stores or boutiques. It can be, we want businesses like the one we're standing in right now in the downtown area, things that help bring people into town and that are actually provide kind of useful services for folks and help make this sort of a diverse downtown mix.
Absolutely. The other thing we dug into was the public-private incentive programs that council had worked on as early as 2010, but revisiting those, really deciding how we use Dura to move forward with those, and then also looking at what kind of opportunities do we want to be forward thinking about in the future.
Yeah, and that's I think one of the these are obviously all conversations still in progress. I think this is one of the things that. One of the reasons I'm so glad that we've been doing a lot of these work sessions with the Economic Development Advisory Committee. They're, we have great citizens and interested parties who come in and volunteer their excellent knowledge and credentials to help us come up with some of these incentive programs, either new ones or how do we improve existing programs or better put forward what we already have on the books. And I think that's a really key component in this sort of visioning process that we have, is that we're it's not just those of us who are sitting on town council, we're trying to bring in our committees and other members of the community to sort of put everything together, so that when we do go out there and as you say, as we go through that process talking to developers, that we have a high degree of confidence that this is what the community is looking for.
Yep. The other thing that we are moving forward with that is going to help us communicate and that I'm personally very excited about is the brand work that we've been doing for Dillon.
Right.
So we had a group of the community came in, whether it be businesses, homeowners. They came in and we did a workshop, and where we've landed on is mountain lake style as our brand position.
So when I was first on council, we were trying to figure out like the tagline and go through that, and I think we had mountain maritime, which does not really work for anyone who actually knows what maritime means. So we kind of boxed that. So I'm actually incredibly thrilled that we have something that I think actually makes sense for the town of Dillon. It's
relevant, but I like that it's similar to where you guys landed because it means that it's really true to who we are and the work we've done before.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. And I think my understanding is we're going to be sort of rolling that out more publicly here in the near future.
Absolutely. We're working on a new website, which is going to have a lot easier navigation and functionality. It's going to be more visually driven. And along with that rollout in May, we'll start to see our new tagline and logo and new color palette and a lot of fresh content and things like that. So just thrilled to be wrapping that work up.
Yeah, and that's one of the interesting things. That's the, putting, kind of tying together. That's one of those pieces that sort of creates that vision of the community that ties into, whether you're trying to go to the townofdillon.com website, that helps inform the kind of programming that we'll do for people, that when we do go out to those developers, those are the kind of things that they want to see. What is our vision of a town? So it's it's something I know people don't always think about, but it's actually one of the sort of the cornerstones of when we are doing this redevelopment and we are trying to be outwardly facing the community. How are we projecting the town? And it touches on all manner of things, kind of no matter how you engage with the town. So it's really exciting to see this getting sort of updated and rolled out.
So as you mentioned, our EDAC committee deserves a big thanks. Another group that we've been working with that deserves huge kudos is the Parks and Recreation Committee. And they just rolled out a community open house, and they talked about phase 1 design of the town park.
Yeah, so that's something that's now been in updates for years now, is our town park, and we're, we've one of the things we're very proud of is that collaborative effort that's been going on there. Community meetings. We've been there was a great tie-in with some of the local school kids.
How cool was that?
Yeah, that was really cool, and got some really good ideas about how do you actually make a town park that's going to be useful for adults, for children. What do people actually want to see in order to utilize every single feature of it, of our town park. We are continuing that, those steps. We have money allocated in our budget in the coming years. We think this is something we can be aggressive about getting state grants for.
Absolutely.
So we do, we do want to see the ball kind of keep rolling on that. During this sort of design phase, the important thing is making sure that, again, we have that sort of community input to make sure that, as once shovels hit the dirt, that people understand that what we're doing and that we're doing the right things for our community.
And at the community open house, it was so great to hear the overwhelming positive response. What people were saying is, how quickly can we make this happen? And Scott O'Brien head up this project, and it was great because in working with the architects, it was so thoughtful the way they incorporated the community input, and all of those things help ladder up to make it easier to get that kind of grant money that we're looking for to make it happen. So stay tuned for that. I can't wait to be hanging out there with my family. Let's see. In other town news, coming up in April,
we don't have an election, where probably other towns you might be watching are talking about an upcoming municipal election. We actually do not have one. In fact, we are looking to. We had several seats up. We do have one of our incumbent town council members, Brad Bailey, submitted paperwork and will be returning to the town council. But we actually do have 3 vacancies on our town council right now. If anybody's interested, we are submitting letters of interest, or we are accepting letters of interest for folks who want to submit. And that closes March 4th. We'll be appointing 3 spots, 2-year terms. You'll be up at the next election, but give you a couple years to figure out if you want to go, to half a decade or more doing this. So it's, I think it's. I think it's kind of interesting. One of the things that we've seen is that there's been a lot of engagement on the town council, and people coming in who are working full time, who are younger, who are starting families, and that I think we've seen probably more transition than we have in the past. But I think that's part of trying to reconnect the town council to sort of a family-oriented, job-oriented outlook. And I'm certainly proud of the people who have served, and we'll be missing some of the folks who are leaving, but we'll be excited for folks who are looking to step up. So
a few housekeeping things is we meet the first and third Tuesday of the month. The meetings generally don't last that late into the night unless you have something like a gateway project and the public hearings associated with those types of things. Yeah,
I think it's important to point out for folks, and we've talked about this before, but so much of the work that we do is actually in our work session, which typically starts at 4:30, and we have a lot of sort of free-flowing discussion there. We are usually pretty good about trying to incorporate questions from folks who happen to show up and have something they're interested in. But something like the development vision we were talking about, we're doing that in work session. It's been it's been many months of process now. If anybody who's interested is always welcome to show up and kind of listen in or try to engage. A lot of our actual town council business tends to be a little bit more procedural. As you say, when we have something like a PUD, that becomes a very big deal, and people show up and make comments. But a lot of the conceptual work about whether we're interested in, in making a change to our code or putting something on the books or supporting or not supporting some initiative or project, a lot of that discussion does take place in work session. So I always encourage folks to show up to that.
The other thing that I'd like to point out is that we've gotten a lot of interest out of Dillon Valley and the Summit Cove area, and we are so appreciative that you community members look to Dillon and that we are your hometown. And please continue to engage, come be part of different committees, come to the meetings. To sit on council, you need to have a Dillon proper address, so to speak.
Yeah, and if you call up town hall, you can get that double checked about whether you're in or out of the town limits. But always good to remind folks that our town limits are actually pretty small. So finally, let's actually talk a little bit about what we actually did at our last regular meeting, because we did pass some stuff. We had some optional, we passed an optional premise liquor license unanimously, and for folks who come to regular Dillon events, that's with that we've sort of restructured our Friday and Saturday night concerts to incorporate more nonprofits, give more organizations opportunities to come and raise funds. And what we've really done is take the liquor license essentially in-house, and we're being sort of the overarching organization that runs those Friday and Saturday night concerts now, right?
Yep, absolutely. And what that allows us to do, we hire tips trained bartenders. So this also gives us a tighter control over protecting our liquor license down there. And to your point, it opens up those evenings as a fundraising opportunity for nonprofits in the area, 501c3s. And we are currently taking applications for those. So if you are a nonprofit in the area, please go to the Town of Dillon website and submit your application. For Friday night, we're looking for 5 volunteers that cover the couple of hours of the concert, and in exchange you get a flat $500 fee. So we're very excited to open this up to the community. The events are going to be great. We've really been solidifying the scheduling. We're bringing the machine back, and that's going to be September 10th, the same day as the 106 West Triathlon. We are bringing back Who's Bad, which was the Michael tribute band. That's going to be happening in July. We're looking at 2 other larger acts, so we think it's going to be a fantastic summer. We've looked at our programming. Friday night is going to be really geared towards the locals, those tried and true bands that we all love to dance to. Saturday is a mix of the tribute bands that we love, like the Sisters of Rock type things, and of course Michael Jackson tribute. And then also we're looking at sort of the new and upcoming music. So for those of you who love to get down there and shake your booty, come on down.
Snow's still falling, but we're already thinking about our summer.
Right? So. It's pretty funny. The other event that I wanted to update people on is something that's happening this winter, and it's the Summit Historical Society is working to honor Women's History Month. They're bringing in an acclaimed author, Sandra Dallas, and Sandra is really cool because she writes historical fictions about the area here. So she's coming in, that's gonna be March 12th from 2 to 4 p.m. There's gonna be tea, goodies, conversation with her. Some of the characters in her books are quilters, so quilting organization is coming in. It's gonna be a really special event, and tickets for that are on sale now. And that can be found either at the Town of Dillon website or the Summit Historical Society website, which has been revamped and looks great too, so you should check it out.
One last thing is a quick public service announcement for folks. It's been a surprisingly warm second half of February, but punctuated by some big snowstorms. But we're still going into March, which is usually a really snowy month for us, and we still have a lot of public. We are going to have a lot of snow to move around. We have a lot of public works vehicles that are out in the streets, and just a reminder that they're going to be out there, and we encourage folks to sort of stay aware. They're pretty big vehicles, and they're trying to make sure that the roads are as safe as possible, but it's easy to get sort of lulled in when you have a few days of sunny, warm weather. That when the next storm comes up, your brain it takes me a minute to kind of switch back to we're back into winter.
Mode,
So just wanted to give the friendly reminder for everyone that we still have a little bit of winter left before we really hit spring. So
even if the groundhog did see his shadow or didn't.
Which way does it work? I don't know. Well,
anyway.
Well, we'll have that for next year's update at this time. So again, thanks everyone for watching. If you want to find out more, contact any of us, townofdillon.com.
See you next time.